Welcome back to Consumer Behavior. This session deals with Chapter 3 of the textbook, Perceiving and Making Meaning. Perception is a process that translates raw stimuli into meaning. Process by which physical sensations such as sight, sound, smells are selected, organized, and interpreted. The interpretation of a stimulus allows it to be assigned meaning. Sensations that we capture are very much related to the five senses: vision, scent, sound, touch, taste. And as the picture shows, the very common saying, content is king. Well, content is not king if no one's looking. If no one's looking, I guess your content is the king of nothing if no one's looking, but you got to capture their attention first. Then your content can be king. Impact of sensory appeals on consumer behavior. We rely on colors, odors, sounds, tastes, and even the feel of products when we evaluate them. Even when we're looking at something on a digital marketing piece on a social media platform, we get a feel for what it is. So it's not always the feel of a touch, but it's a feeling that can be conveyed. Not all sensations successfully make their way through the perceptual process. Many stimuli compete for our attention, and we don't notice or accurately interpret most of them. Vision, for example, so many different elements can come through a vision: illuminance, shape, color, material, location. All of these stimuli can come just from seeing something. Then, of course, we have the colors. As most of you know, colors, they mean things. And yellow is optimistic, youthful; red, energy; blue, trust and security, and so on. Purple, the one on the bottom here, is also royalty. And I'm surprised because of that, because of the royalty aspect of it, that it's not used a little bit more. But anyway, like I said, the colors, they all have meanings attached to them. Orange is aggressive, blue is trust and security. Touch, endowment, effect, psychological ownership. Haptic, eye touch, is the translation in Greek. Contamination effect, Kansai engineering. These are all theories that relate to the sensations of touch. Kansai engineering I find intriguing. It's the development of products by translating the consumer's psychological feelings and needs into the domain of a product design. In doing that, you start with a description and definition of what is the desired feeling we want to achieve from the consumer. Then you go about designing the product versus the utilitarian approach, which requires you to design the product and then do your best to incorporate features that will help you achieve the desired feeling. Very interesting. Kansai engineering. Perception process. Sight, sound, smells, taste, textures. The receptors that you receive these stimuli, of course, eyes, ear, nose, mouth, skin, they all funnel down to a 3-stage process: exposure, attention, interpretation. First, you're exposed to something, a stimuli, and your brain decides, is this worth processing or not? If it's worth processing, it's what we call gets your attention. And once it has your attention, then it is interpreted based on many of your experiences and things that you know. But this is the process. Like computers, we undergo stages of information processing in which we input and store stimuli. Unlike computers, we do not always process whatever information happens to be present. Um, so many stimuli come through that many times we don't even know. If we're really focused on one thing, um, as they, all kinds of things could be happening around us, and we just, that we shut them out. The three stages of exposure, attention, and interpretation make up the process of perception. Here we have an ad from Nike. Nike's a proven impact on customer perception. Well, yeah, I guess if you've spent so many millions and billions of dollars telling consumers what your brand is about, eventually it's gonna it's gonna sink in and create the perceived images, which is what customer perception is. I guess it's proof that advertising works. Good advertising. Stage one, exposure. Sensory, the point at which stimulus is strong enough to make a conscious impact on awareness, which means you have to recognize, you touch, you see it, you feel it, you smell it. There's got to be some stimuli that you recognize. Psychophysics, how people integrate the physical environment into their personal worlds. Example of this is walking into say for example, a ladies' clothing store, and it's nice carpet, the lighting is good, the racks give plenty of space to move around. You get a good feeling, and that immediately translates to, okay, now I have a good feeling of all the items in this store. Take those same items and put them in a different store with a tile floor that your feet stick to, bad lighting, and racks so close you have to turn sideways. And the bad feeling you have translates to your perception of the quality of clothes, even though they're the same clothes that you thought were very good quality in a different place, bad quality here because of the environment. That is called psychophysics. Absolute, the minimum amount of stimulation a person can detect on a given sensory channel. Differential, the ability of a sensory system to detect differences between two stimuli. That, I'll give an example, Coke and Pepsi. I mean, I'm not a expert on either one, but I think they kind of, if you just put them both in a glass and sit next to each other, they kind of look the same. They have the same amount of fizz, I suppose, and this and that. But they're certainly definitely different and have very loyal followings on either side. J&D, just a noticeable difference. That is something that when you're they call it splitting hairs. And many times products will be, very close, but have subtle differences that the marketers will want to advance and really highlight in the advertising, and make a just noticeable difference a great difference, make it a big deal, and try and convince people that this is why you want to buy our brand and our product, even though the difference is quite small. Weber's law, the stronger the initial stimulus, the greater a change must be for us to notice it. It might seem logical, but at the same time, this is what drives, when people say, yeah, it's so important to be number one in any category. If you're the first one out there, it's just such a huge advantage because whoever comes next has to really overcome all the goodwill that you've already achieved. And that's kind of what Weber's law is based on. An example of how perceptions have changed over the years. Betty Crocker evolves over time. And the reason she evolved is that people's perception, if you were to use the picture of 1955 Betty Crocker today, possibly, I think you'd get a lot of consumers going look somewhere else for their cooking supplies. So over time, you can see how Betty Crocker has evolved to keep up with the fashions, the trends, the ages of their target consumer, just the overall look and feel. And this is something that, again, They want the perceived image of the consumer to be, oh, that's for me. Okay, I get it. They get me and I get them. Uh, Hence the evolution of Betty Crocker. Subliminal perception, stimulus below the level of the consumer's awareness. Here's a couple examples. FedEx, first off, let's look at the colors. Blue and orange. Blue, trust and confidence. Orange, excitement and energy. Two pretty good subliminal messages there. Then you have the forward pointing arrow between the E and the X, which many people have seen before. But for a long time, that was a bit of a subliminal, moving forward, pointing, we're on to go. Those are all things coming through that little FedEx logo. Baskin Robbins, if you look between the B and the R, you'll see the number 31. And that is what Baskin Robbins is known for. 31 flavors. It's right there. Attention, the extent to which processing activity is devoted to a particular stimulus. Consumers routinely experience sensory overload. Just look down this aisle of the store and the picture to the right. Colors, shapes, sizes, fonts, everything under the sun. The packaging for these products is now referred to as in-store billboards, and brand marketers talk about our billboard because there's so much information on these products. And even to the point now where they're using QR codes to deliver more information on the spot on some of these products. But yeah, you've got brand names, product names, colors, pictures of strawberries, pictures of limes. So much going on, and a lot of money is spent designing these things to stand out. And then you put them on a shelf like this and just look at, you squint your eyes and it's a Monet painting. But some products and brands certainly do a better job of breaking through the clutter than others. How do marketers get attention? Well, personal selection factors, customers pick and choose stimuli. Marketers work hard to cut through the clutter and engage consumers with sensory appealing tactics. This picture here of a dog staring at a coffee pot, somebody obviously taking a break at the beach, making a pot of coffee. What's the dog got to do with the coffee? I don't know, but it probably caught your attention. I think this product marketer figured, well, anytime people see dogs, they have to have a look, and we'll put a coffee pot there, and different, whimsical, but that's how they grab you. They work hard to cut through the clutter and engage. Interpretation, step 3, the meaning we assign to a stimulus depends on the schema or set of beliefs we assign to it. This in turn leads us to compare the stimulus to other similar ones we encountered in the past. As a result, interpretation is very much based on our subjective experiences, cultural background, personal sensitivities, expectations, on and on. Here is a perception map that is very commonly used in marketing departments to plot out the consumer perceptions at any point in time of your brand as well as the competitors. And you can see here where Mercedes-Benz ranks high on prestige as well as a good value for the money versus Ford average in terms of value for the money, and or actually average in terms of prestige, and a little bit below average in terms of what's perceived as value for the money. So if I'm a brand manager at Ford, I want to move that perception a little bit and try and influence it to convince people that it's a quality product. Even though they're saying is quality is job one, doesn't seem to be getting through to the market. Augmented reality is used to influence the perception process. Overlays digital content into the real world, enhancing the user's perception of reality. For example, AR can be used to visualize furniture in a customer's home before purchase. This has really changed the way things are done. And in terms of where does AR work hardest? In all three stages: exposure, attention, interpretation. Exposure, you can see it. Attention, it grabs your attention because now you can see the color scheme with other furniture in a room layout, what have you. Interpretation, you don't have to imagine things anymore. You can see it firsthand. The gentleman's looking at the couch right there. Maybe he wants a sleeper sofa. Boom, there's a sleeper sofa. Instead of yellow, he wants blue. Boom, it's blue. Very much the augmented reality is changing the way brands are influencing consumers. Does subliminal marketing work? Well, here's a pretty successful brand, and they got all kinds of subliminal messages coming through. First, the background colors, orange and yellow, outlined in black, which is the solid color. Orange is energy and excitement. Yellow is happiness and things of that sort. And then you have the two T's, which are people sharing a chip, arms out like they're having fun. There's a lot of subliminal messages coming right here. But does it work? Well, if you look at Tostitos, I think they're pretty successful. I would have to say yes. Semiotics, how consumers create meaning out of symbols. How did Nike create meaning from that little swoosh? Adidas with the 3 stripes. We can go on and on. Marketing messages have 3 components: object, sign, interpretant. Object is the actual product, the brand, so to speak. The sign is, in this case, the swoosh, and the interpretant is the meaning. What they want it to mean is that swoosh, and that object is the resilience of the Chicano streetwear. It looks like a retro shoe that they're bringing back, and it's still in style and what have you, because they're trying to play off the reminiscence of glory days, I suppose, to sell some more of these Nike Classic Cortez. But again, you have 3 components, create meaning out of symbols. Brands live in the consumer minds, and that is why it's so important to have a very positive perceived image of your brand. Emotional, rational attributes attached to a brand make it different and preferred, hopefully, in the minds of consumers. Brand positionings, there's many ways to position a brand, and positioning is, what is it that you want consumers to perceive your product or your brand will deliver to them? Grey Poupon, a higher class lifestyle. If you were think of yourself as a gourmet chef or a premium, you don't mind spending a little bit more money on the food that you eat, Grey Poupon is for you. Price leadership. L'Oreal sells its Noisome brand face cream in upscale beauty shops. That's one way to, take the high road. Just sell it in the expensive stores and don't even put it in the discount stores. Attributes. You can position your brand on attributes. Bounty paper towels are the quicker picker-upper. Speed saves you time, does a good job, and does it fast. Product class. Competitors. Occasions. Wrigley's gum is alternative at times when smoking is not prohibited. Well, if that's the occasion you find yourself in regularly, well, get some Wrigley's. Users, quality, country of origin. These are all ways that brands can position themselves in the consumer's mind. Consumers don't buy products, they buy brands. They buy into a brand story, And that's what creates loyalty, and that's what creates repeat purchases. Assuming that the product delivers what the quality is there. But that consumers they don't buy products, they buy brands. Product versus brand. Products are things made in factories, can be easily duplicated. And by that, I mean services as well. Products, services, they can be duplicated. But a successful brand is timeless and cannot be copied. It is the brand that generates loyalty and repeat purchases. Is also the brand that can destroy itself if it ever loses the trust and confidence of its consumers. That's it for this presentation. Week 2, assignment, read chapter 3 and 4. There are 2 quizzes in Canvas. Complete the quizzes for chapter 3 and chapter 4. And an assignment. Package design concept for a new premium chocolate. In this assignment, background. Hershey has identified an opportunity in the high-end premium and chocolate category. You're the brand manager at Hershey for this project, and you're asked to design the package for a new premium chocolate bar. Assignment. Number 1, describe the look and feel of your package concept, and 2, provide a brief discussion on how or why your concept will appeal to high-end chocolate consumers. Now remember, we just went over colors, we went over product placements, we went over all the different things on a package. Also on Canvas, in the description of this assignment, I posted a link to an article, not a very long article, about the different elements in chocolate packaging. So you may want to read that just to get some reference. It will only take a couple minutes to read that article, but kind of give you a little head start. So anyway, that's it. I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions, just contact me. Thank you.